At first, we hit your gadgets with our state-of-the-art digitalized mobile studio with the debate on the road behind the wheels. Later, we launched our magnificent studios located on Plot 1A, Sewagude Close, Lukulinanganda, Machindye, Kampala, where we bring to you our must-watch shows like The Mighty Drive, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m., Hotline, Mondays, 7 p.m. As for legal matters, Twins at Bar, Tuesdays, 11 a.m. Wednesdays, 6 p.m. is Afro-Caribbean Link, where we connect Africa with the Caribbean. Voltage on Thursdays, 7 p.m., featuring a youthful panel. Interface with Dr. Kiza Besije every Friday, 12 p.m. with his call to action against injustices. Snap Talk, Saturdays, 6 p.m. with the trio. A must-watch, The Political Dice, Sundays, 8 p.m. with the duo that never stammers, and so much more. Watch us live on all our social media platforms. We are the Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. We're going to dive into our topical discussion of the day, the geopolitics of the gold industry in Uganda and Africa. So before we go into that, we were from a very heated debate of UBOS reports, the numbers and the mix-up. And one is asking, how can an entity of that magnitude make such a small mistake? They may call it a small mistake, as the spokesperson was alleging, that it is unavoidable. You can mix up numbers.
You copy from here, and then when you paste here, and then it changes, especially when you're using Excel. That's what they were telling us.
And looking into, through her perspective, you might agree that you might mix up numbers. According to them, by the way, Mr. Olanya, it is not that they gave wrong numbers. They just mixed up numbers. So they corrected, and the correct numbers are there. Do you agree with the numbers that they updated in their report?
I have said this, and I will say it again. One of the institutions in this country that needs a total overhaul, total overhaul means they start dismissing people right from their scary. Up to the top person in UBOS is Uganda Bureau of Statistics. They're a whole joke. I have given you my reasons, and I have told you, if this country thinks I am lying, let us get credible research firms, like 5, to redo the job. You will see the mess in the data. I've given you just simple discrepancies that UBOS has done. They have not been making these mistakes just now. And they are not mistakes because they're deliberate. I've given you the reason why I say they're deliberate. And it is a targeted move. There are syndicates within UBOS. So UBOS has become a cartel that runs a shadowy approach. They call it the war of data science. They have created a simple war that they use they call it soft war. Okay?
Yeah.
So it's an institution that needs to be investigated. For me, I've told you, we are still trying to compare notes and gather a few data on it, but we may take UBOS legally for the mess they have created over time. And we have these facts.
So if it is deliberate, that means that it is supported by the state.
Let me tell you, not everything that happens, or if I am employed by state and I make a deliberate error, that error is for the state. That may not be the official position of the state. The state might also be consuming information because you are mandated to do the job and they're consuming without knowing. So I may not really confirm that the state also is part of that confusion or the cartel and mafiaism in UBOS. But UBOS is a scam, a total scam.
Okay, let's leave the UBOS discussion and go into our discussion of the day, the geopolitics of the gold industry in Uganda. Let us first focus in Uganda. Engineer Olanya is a mineral activist. He knows where minerals are in Uganda here. He will tell you there is gold here, there is copper in the other region, there is copper, cobalt, something like that. We studied about Kilembe mines. Do you remember? That was it SST or something that happened between the years of 1956 and I think the early 1980s. And I read somewhere in 2022 that Uganda is going to bring it back, and they really want to restructure it, and then it starts doing its work. Now we go into our discussion from the Kilembe mines. Do you think it is relevant to re-innovate and now give Kilembe mines the rights to start extracting minerals?
Yesterday, as I was going to pick my ATM card from one of the outlets, I happened to, it is just along Clement Road, I think Clement Road, yes, near Airtel main office. I happened to see a signpost written Kilembe Mines, the old signpost of the day. Oh, I think I'll go back there and take a photo with that old structure of Kilembe Mines.
Yes.
Then I remember the conversation we had at the Mineral Wealth Conference, which happened in Serena, which I happened to attend. And the minister, Honorable Nankabira, did a very good job and said that government has finished the process of identifying a suitable company to get to run the Kilembe Mines. So I can say that Kilembe Mines will get back on track. The unfortunate bit was that from my investigation, they were saying Kilembe Mines was mining copper.
Yes,
but
that's what
the unfortunate bit is Kilembe Mines was mining more than copper.
Even cobalt.
The only yes, they were talking copper, cobalt. But you see, and cobalt is a mineral that is highly valued. That's why you see there's chaos in Congo. We have it here, yes.
Actually, that is the reason they gave that because we are heading into clean energy and all that, and we are producing electric vehicles, so we are in need of copper.
It's a critical metal that is required, even copper. But I will tell you one fact. Previously, the company that was running Kilembe Mines, Kilembe Mines Company Limited, which I saw there, which I'll go back definitely and take a photo of the structure, because I was excited to see that, hey, this is where it is. It's a coordination office, liaison office.
Okay.
From my investigation, of course, minerals don't exist alone. Gold will always exist with silver or some bit of copper.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Kilembe Mines, they were not mining only copper. The unfortunate bit was the mafias or the cartels running Kilembe Mines then was only declaring copper. So they
Which
did
other minerals were there?
a lot more minerals. A lot more minerals. That one, I'll tell you, it's called the minerals politics, so we leave it at that. But just know, the fact is, Kilembe was not mining only copper. Unfortunate enough that they were not declaring the other minerals. And of course, this vigilance goes to government. They need to up their vigilance. The mineral inspectors at Entebbe need to up their game. The mineral police needs to up this game. URA needs to up its game because the mineral sector...
The ministers and...
Could that be the reason why they were partially stopped?
Of course, there were so many reasons that were given for stopping Kilembe that we may not go into. But just know, it is getting back on track. But previously, there was a lot of wrongdoing being done at Kilembe. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's dive into the gold. People call it the gold scam and then the gold whatever. Let's start it at that. What is actually not happening, or what are we not understanding, we as the Ugandans, when it comes to gold?
Personally, I would think gold is a very interesting sector. And I would encourage every Ugandan to get into the gold sector. I appreciate the Ministry of Energy. And surprisingly, the Ministry of Energy, not surprisingly, I would be victimizing them. But fortunate enough, the Ministry of Energy is being led by women, both at the technical wing and at the political wing. At the political wing, we have Honorable Nyamutoro, Honorable Ruth Nankabirwa. At the political wing, we have the Permanent Secretary, Engineer Irene Batebe. She's doing an amazing job.
Yes.
Women at the echelon of power at the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development. Ministry of, commissioners, they have about four commissioners who are ladies. Agnes Alaba, Commissioner of Mines. Very good job being done there. And they have tried to reawaken the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development. And when you see the ministry or the sector is opening up, it's because of these amazing women at the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development. And I want to give them kudos. The President really did a good job of ensuring that the ministries and the women, and they're really doing an amazing job.
Yes.
And they are doing a good job there. I appreciate them for that. Previously, there was a lot of
Chaos.
drama and chaos. But I would, from the first instant, I would encourage everyone or every Ugandan to join the gold sector. And I have my reasons for that. Number one,
Okay.
if you look at the global dynamics now, gold is the biggest thing. Even if they're talking about minerals in Uganda, the other minerals are just escorting gold. Even if they're talking graphite in Kitgum, my home district in Orong, it does it along gold. Gold is the biggest, okay? Even if they're talking copper, it's gold. Even if they're talking vermiculite, all these minerals are just there, but at the moment, the conversation, the global conversation is gold. Can you imagine? Gold price has shot within just a space of 7 months from $60,000 a kilogram to now $84,000 in Dubai. As we speak now, 1 kilo of gold is $84,000. That is over 300 million Uganda shillings. And a kilo of gold looks, it can be a very simple bar. Let me show you. It can be the size of this phone, just a kilo. Can be this size. And it is over 300 million.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you venture into the sector? Of course, there are issues that people will raise that, oh, the gold sector has scammers, those and that. That is why you need a consultant. That's why you need to do things right. There are procedures in the gold sector. There's what they call the 3 Ps, the 3 Ps of the gold sector. Number one, the first P is procedure.
Yes.
You must know procedure. You can't just jump into it tomorrow.
Yeah.
You can't just jump into it tomorrow. Like now, like Bank of Uganda wants to jump into it. So you will hear maybe a story that Bank of Uganda has been scammed because they want to start buying gold. I will talk about their gold buying project. Number two, you look at purity. It is the purity that determines the price. So those are the 3 Ps. Procedure, purity, and the price. You must understand. That is like the gold Bible. That must be followed to the dot. Of course, this is stipulated by the World Gold Council, which is an entity that superintends over gold transactions globally and how the gold trade operates.
Okay.
I can't go by leaving it and say that gold is shrouded in a lot of secrecy, enigma, a lot of fantasy. I mean, it's fictitious. Okay?
Okay.
And so many people fear to join the sector, and I think people should join the sector.
Because there are a lot of scammers
Yes.
in the field.
We have seen those scenarios.
So many
Let me
people
give you an
fear
example.
to
Let me give
join.
you an example. Gold has done so much good in Uganda.
Yeah, it was ranked in 2022 as #1 export.
Yes.
If I give you a perspective, just simple perspective, you've heard of Arua Park in Kampala here? That park has grown because of gold. The arcades you see there, that entire Arua Park has grown because of the gold trade. It is unofficial, but that is the truth, I'm telling you. I've done my background checks. I know what I'm saying. Arua Park has grown because of the gold trade. Likewise, Arua City is growing because of the gold trade. Arua City unofficially runs about 10 to 15 shops buying gold. Unofficially. It runs some refineries. And the gold comes in from, of course, DRC and South Sudan. That is why you'd ask yourself, that what is happening in Arua? There are people who've been asking questions. What is happening in Arua? One of them is Owo, who calls himself Hasso King, was asking, why is it at Arua they have held big concerts than even Kampala? They have hosted Awili Logombas, they hosted Fali Epupa, they hosted international comedians, the Basket Mouths were here. There's just last weekend, Sabinos from Nigeria was there. They have just announced Amona is coming to Arua. Arua is a city in Uganda that is growing fastest. Arua is actually growing faster than Kampala. That is the truth. Why? The gold trade. Arua in a day on approximate, the data that I got from the UN on approximate, that was around 2020, 2021 during the COVID.
Yeah.
Arua was controlling or transacting gold trade that comes in between 50 kilograms to 100 kilograms a day. Meaning Arua was running in millions of dollars daily. Millions of
dollars.
That's an economy Kampala cannot even do in a day. Millions of dollars. I'm not talking shillings, millions of dollars in a day. So yes, the gold trade is good, and we've seen it in Arua and how it's growing the city. This year alone, at peak times when gold is mined heavily, especially the rainy seasons, because most of the gold comes in from DRC and South Sudan, Ye area, Kapoita and all that, the gold is brought in. Arua is just a transit city. Of course, from there, There are some makeshift refineries, but they bring it always to Kampala and Entebbe. But Arua ran this trade for a while, and is controlling the trade of gold in Uganda.
But then one wonders, why isn't government sabotaging the trade?
The people in the gold trade are not simple people. These are big men. We would call them the big boys. So the gold trade has a very complex, and that's why I said procedures. You need to understand procedure. You need to understand what is the trade, who is doing what in the trade, if you want to venture into it. So you know where to step and where not to step. But the gold the gold trade is quite amazing. It's a business that can really earn money. But I want to appreciate government of Uganda by trying to bring up regulation. They brought in the Mineral Act of 2022, and they're trying to make amendments, the regulation into mining, and the regulations now for the artisanals. Artisanals for the first time have been recognized, yet globally, artisanal miners contribute 20% of the gold on the global scale. Yeah. But in Uganda's context, because there's no, except for Wagagai that has just come in Busia, there was no large-scale mining company. So most of the gold, 80% of the gold that comes from our small mines is from artisanals. So the artisanals are now being recognized by government, and I think government needs to fast-track the process of putting the regulation to that, so that they have a transition for the from the previous law to the new law, and having the artisanals recognized. That notwithstanding, we need to appreciate the fact that there are still dynamics that affects them, and like the use of cyanide and mercury into the mining, which I think entities like Impact and Planet Gold have been trying to help, so that they leave that use of mercury, because mercury would definitely affect people. Mercury is a heavy metal, so it can really affect you in your life. So I think those regulations are helping. They're now forming cooperatives. Of course, the cooperatives allows them to have that buffer for them to discuss even with big companies into joint ventures. But one interesting fact I will tell you is that most of the gold, if not to 80 to 90%, is not from Uganda. That the gold we transact from here comes from the Democratic Republic of Congo and South Sudan. South Sudan, of course, from Yei, of course, from DRC, it comes in from the Bunia, the Ituri, those kind of provinces. And of course, you know the complex situation in DRC, the war, the kind of rebel groups there. So the gold easily finds its way through Arua and then to Kampala. And what does that mean? It means that when this gold comes in, it's declared as Ugandan gold, because they are refined. And gold, what happens is when they melt it, and then they make into bars. They stamp it. If they stamp it Gulu, it is Gulu's gold. And if it is taken to Lira and smelted again, the stamped Lira, it is Lira's gold. So it is hard to trace gold and track it. But it's a known fact that most of the gold in Uganda is from DRC and South Sudan. And it's just refined and certified as Uganda's gold. Our gold in Uganda of late, because even if you look at the statistics from Karamoja and the other mining areas, Karamoja, the biggest gold mines in Ropa sub-county, in Moroto, or even Amodat, they produce in grams in a day. Because they could get maybe between 500 to 700 to 800 grams a day. Which means if we're having on a daily basis gold coming into the country 200 kilograms, it means literally it's not from Uganda. So what does it mean? It means that Uganda needs to invest in exploration and support our local artisanals so that they know the potential. We attract more international companies. Government needs to interest itself in exploration. Government needs to support the artisanal gold miners financially, because financial institutions don't understand mining. If you go to any bank and say, I want money, I want to mine gold, they will not understand the mining sector. So government needs, through Bank of Uganda, to make it deliberate, now that Bank of Uganda is even joining the program to buy gold, to support the local artisanal miners. Because gold is a good venture. If you see people, young women who have been into mining and they've supported their kids through schools, they have constructed, gold has changed so many lives.
But now they are telling us that it's the first family in this gold industry. How true is that?
Let me give you a perspective. There was a gold rush in Abim. I was still trying to make a point to that. There's a gold rush in Abim, and when I went there on the ground myself, we're trying to help the community so that they get into joint ventures with some international corporations so they can upscale. Because, you know, the complex situation is, even within the 2022 law, the Mining Act, when you read it script by script, you will understand that Artisanals are recognized, yes.
Yeah.
But artisanals are just being used in that law to do prospecting cheaply for government. Prospecting is like, I think something might be here, let me try. Like that, then you find. So when you find, government then takes a keen look, it's okay. Then another big investor comes and they push you out. Like you've been seeing controversial state cases of, even the case of Wakagaya and other people. They were artisanals before. So government uses artisanals to just do prospecting. But I think government should change that. That is why we're encouraging artisanals to form cooperatives. And I want to appreciate the efforts of still a lady, Gitu, Lynn Gitu. She runs an organization called Planet Gold. She's been trying to help these artisanal miners to form cooperatives because it gives them a buffer within the law to stand firm. If you are artisanal groups and you don't have cooperatives, it is difficult. The government will come and chase you out, even when they're the ones who gave you the license to do mining at artisanal scale, because they now want big volume of royalty or revenue from the large-scale miners who are going to come on board.
Yeah.
So I find it painful to see people who have labored to build something from scratch being pushed out by government. That is the only unfair script of the law. That is why in the case of Abim, which is, I think, to my understanding as of now, one of the biggest gold deposits in Uganda, Abim, in Larek sub-county, that those guys, the artisanals, when they were even using the simple panning method where they shake and wash the gold, they were producing between 1 kilogram to 2 kilograms a day. Remember, the biggest record has been 500 grams. But these guys were doing a level wash where you just pick soil from the top and wash and get gold. Wash and get gold. That's why you saw over 10,000 people rushed from all over like Africa. Guys even came from Kenya. They were running to Abim. And I appreciate government for running in to rescue them and try to support them. Of course, even after the soldiers came and pushed the people out, as they were trying to regulate and organize themselves, there were even, of course, reports that soldiers were even mining. The soldiers who were made to protect, they were even trying to do mining themselves, which is unfortunate. I'm glad that the division, the officer on ground there, the commanding officer on ground there, tried to clamp down on some of these errant soldiers because that is not what they're supposed to do. So for the Abim case, I think government is trying to help the community by even ring fencing. They have ring fenced for them 20 square kilometers.
Oh.
That is about 3 sub-counties of land for them to do mining. So that's why I said Karamoja is not poor. They are rich, but not poor. Or you could say Karamoja is poor but rich. At this point, yes, you can make them look poor, but they're rich. So if I would say, if you say they're poor, yes, you say they're poor, but they're rich. That's the truth.
It's
so rich but poor.
Don't know that they are
the best statement to perhaps say, because I may not have cash now, is to say maybe I am rich. Or I'm rich but I'm poor.
Maybe they haven't realized that they are rich people.
They know. That's why I said if they don't realize it, it's that inferiority fight that was put by funny people in UBOS and all that. So you asked the question that the first family is the one that runs the gold trade. Just like I said, the first family has people like me, you, or any other kind of Ugandan. They're citizens, number one. They're allowed to transact business, to open up companies and transact business. What I don't agree with is illicit trade. What I don't agree with is mafia and cartel kind of behaviors in the gold trade. You have seen the scams that came on Daily Monitor.
We actually saw a story on NTV.
The scams that came on NTV. But this has not been the only scam. Gold scams happen in Kampala on a daily. People are waylaid. You come present, somebody says, come, I want to buy your gold, you bring your gold. I've seen artisanal miners crying.
And then someone tells me I have land, there is gold and...
I've seen these things. It had somebody traveling from Karamoja coming to sell the gold in Kampala and they're scammed. Okay, I'm just commenting generally for the gold sector. It is painful to see this. That's why I want to put up a program through an organization that I have founded called OOT Foundation for more civic awareness on the gold trade. And I want to be moving to Karamoja to teach people the right procedures of doing things. Okay? Yeah. We need to open up this sector. I even want to have engagements with Bank of Uganda because Bank of Uganda is now coming on board and I will talk more into it. So the gold scams have been happening and that is a bad picture for Uganda. Okay? Paints a very bad picture where investors lose interest. So you earlier on said they're liberalizing the economy so that people can... Now you are stealing from them. Be it you are in the first family or you're a big officer in the army, it's wrong. I think for a fact of soldiers in the UPDF have been robbing people in the gold business, which is a true thing. I have seen an officer called Kato is now being prosecuted. He was convicted.
Yes.
You read the New Vision newspaper. That one, the president himself got involved. I appreciate the president for stepping up to protect investors. These guys went to an investor's refinery and told the man, they came with a lot of claims.
And then this
the
gentleman
you're
called
sponsoring terrorism.
Joram something?
It's called Carlos.
Yes.
Joram is one of the accountants.
Itungo.
Joram Itungo is an accountant who works with State House, you can imagine. And he's a mafia in the gold trade. And he's working in State House. And you are operating a gold mess that messes up the... You see, some things are wrong. And the president, I'm glad, is stepping up to clean up. He's personally involved in cleaning up the gold sector. And because gold is Uganda's biggest export earning, if you mess up the sector, it means Uganda will lose a lot.
Yeah.
We're earning billions of dollars from gold. If you look at the numbers, it is amazing that Uganda is earning more from gold than even from coffee. Yeah. That used to be Uganda's largest export earner. So the president getting involved in cleaning up the gold sector is a good thing for the gold sector. The gold sector needs to be cleaned up so that we have legitimate people running the business. And let me tell you something. These soldiers who are involved in the gold trade,
yes,
of course, they are not alone. It means they're operating as a racket.
Oh.
There is an invisible hand?
Yes, there are invisible hands, but definitely, I like the courage that the president has put up. These invisible hands will definitely disappear from the gold trade. Because if you look at people now being convicted, others have been prosecuted. I think this soldier was convicted. They're now waiting to read the sentence. The sentence was supposed to be done yesterday. But such a person should be dismissed from the military with the disgrace for disabusing the trust that Ugandans put in them as UPDF. You carry our flag, you wear our flag, you can't mess the name of the UPDF in such kind of shoddy transactions. I think they are not stopped from doing the trade, but do it legitimately. I don't think the law says if you're a police officer, you should not open a business. No, open up, but do it legitimately. Don't use the advantage of holding a gun to shoot and kill somebody who is running a gold trade. I've seen traders who have died because of this. So we need to make this a straight business. We need to ensure that we attract more investors. This German investor who was fleeced, I think 1.4 billion. And they were using cartels of lawyers and all that. I think that is not right. That is not right.
We're having the big shots involved in this.
And let me tell you this.
Scandals.
Even people who were investigating the story like Andrew Chamagero, you know he was affected? Remember the story when Andrew Chamagero was being trailed?
Yeah.
That is related to the gold story. So yes,
now I
think we need to have a very honest conversation, and we need to keep this conversation of gold open on the media.
But it is also
open on table. You see, the moment we keep hiding gold, everyone, if you talk gold, everyone thinks you're a mafia, everyone thinks you're a thief and all that. If that is not solved, we will be running away from money. Gold is money. So for that conversation to be handled, we need to bring it on table. We need to even encourage as many people as possible. I would even encourage Alternative Digital for doing a good job to even bring on board some of these big gold traders in this country. Let them tell you their stories. We need to open up the sector. Alone, if we open up this sector, we'll get more investment to the country. Okay? As Alternative, you'll even get more people coming to advertise because they want their products to be purchased. Okay?
Yeah.
So get more people into the mineral sector. I would encourage everybody in media to speak minerals, to make sure that we open the sector, to make sure that the natural resource sector of Uganda, which is the big resource, must not be a curse, like we see natural resource curse in Congo.
Yes.
So most importantly, I would say, yes, there are mafias in the gold trade, like you've heard, and some of these run under the cover of their relationship within government,
The connections.
positions and connections, but I think we need to stop that. We need to stop that, and we need to criticize that and ensure that that is handled once and for all. And I appreciate the president for stepping up on this.
Okay.
I can assure you the president has made himself clear on this. That's why you see people being prosecuted. You will hear more of this coming up. So there's a cleanup going on in the gold sector now, and I should make it clear that Ugandans should not fear the gold sector. Ugandans should not fear the mineral sector. It is money making. I think you should even interest yourself. There's a lady. She's doing vermiculite, I think, in Western Uganda. She is a powerful lady now. She's made money. She started from artisanal, simple makeshift mining. Now she's going to big scale. Okay? Such people, they are very good stories of local Ugandan women, local Ugandans, into the mining sector. That is not being told because the media is also, especially mainstream, is also being given a perspective to push, okay?
Yeah.
By the mineral mafias. There's what they call the politics of the minerals or the mineral geopolitics. It is controlled at global scale as well. But I appreciate the fact that bold journalists like Andrew Chemagero put their life on the line to push this gold story.
Okay, thank you so much. It is unfortunate that we are going to cut our program short because there is a press release coming up, a press conference at Katonga, and we need to be there as soon as possible. So Olanya Olenge will come back here next week to continue the discussion of gold, the gaps in the gold industry, how do we address those gaps, and what is government doing to try and clean up the gold trade. It is also alleged that the gold trade is highly ring-fenced. You can't just wake up and start operating into or getting into the gold trade. So it is unfortunate that we are ending here, but next week it is a promise we'll bring back Olanya Olenge to continue
to shed more
discussion
light
of the gold trade. A very good morning. Catch you in a bit of 30 minutes as we air the press conference of Dr. Kizza Besigye at Katonga.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.